Hello and welcome to Talk Wargaming. Here in front of me I have 4 biplanes, which gives you a clue as to what I'll be looking at in this video. These planes are actually part of the game Wings of Glory, the World War I edition, not the World War II. And I've been playing a few games recently, and I'm here to kind of review how the game plays and also some of these kind of aeroplanes that you get as part of it. So in front of me here, I'll quickly explain which each of the planes are. We have the Airco DH4, which is the American plane in first here, followed by the Sopwith Snipe, which is a British plane, and then the N2 are German planes with the Roland C2 and also the Fokker D7. So there's a few different planes available for this game. These are just a selection of them, and these are kind of like the normal fighter planes. There are some larger planes also available, and there's also going to be some kind of huge bomber planes that will be coming out in a Kickstarter that's currently running, but I'll be talking more about that later on. When you get these miniatures, they all come pre-painted and pre-assembled. They're kind of a mixture of plastic and also metal as well. So here we have the Airco, and it's nicely painted. I think it's 1 in 144 scale, so quite small, slightly smaller than maybe like a 10mm game. You can see just the pilots in the back there. Nice painted miniatures as they are pre-painted. I imagine you could paint them yourself if you wanted to. They come on these flying stands, and let me just get the stand again. The stand kind of features all of the relevant information, such as the you can just about see the kind of the fields of fire for the front and rear guns. We also have a few stats there as well. So these just kind of clip on there. There's actually several of these little clear plastic stands in each of the boxes. You get about 4 per plane, and these can be elevated to kind of represent the plane's altitude. So this is kind of pretty much the same kind of thing for the rest of the planes. They're all kind of a mixture of plastic and metal. So how does the game play? Well, it makes use of these kind of maneuver cards. Now, you get a deck of these cards for each plane. Some planes are more maneuverable than others. For example, the Sopwith Snipe and also the Fokker on the end here are smaller planes, so they can perform tighter turns and generally a little bit faster. However, the Roland C2 here is quite a slow plane. It does have a slightly better in terms of damage on other planes. However, it can't do as sharper turns or anything like that. So this here is kind of a nice gentle turn to the left there. There's quite a variation of different cars which do different maneuvers. For example, we have the Immelmann turn, which allows the plane to kind of go forwards and turn around immediately to kind of like chase any turn on any pursuing planes. And we also have these the stall cards as well, which can be used to kind of perform much tighter, much shorter movements as well. And that's kind of the little icon there denotes the stall action. So how do the actual cards affect the movement? So the planes move by following the instructions on the card, and on the base you can see a black line at the front and also an arrow at the back, and these kind of correspond to the line on the card and also the arrow there. So first of all, you get the plane, you line up the blue line with the little black line on the plane's base, and then you move the plane forward so that the black arrow corresponds with the blue arrow on the card, and that's the movement complete. So that's fairly straightforward straight line movement. If you wanted to do something a little bit more complex, so for example we have a kind of a left sharp turn, 90 degree turn, sorry. So we place the arrow lining up with the blue line lining up with the black line, and then we move the plane, making sure that the black arrow lines up with the blue arrow, and that's kind of a 45 degree turn as well. So there's kind of a few different variations of these different angles of movement, but they're all kind of followed the same kind of structure. So that was the mechanics, but actually how you play the game involves this. Now this is the console, and as you can see on the bottom here we have the 1, 2 and 3. Now in each turn consists of 3 phases, and this is what these numbers represent. And at the beginning of your turn you have to kind of choose from your deck of maneuvers. You have to kind of line them up, place them under each of these sections, and you kind of cover them over as well, so only you know what the movements are going to be. Then when the first phase of the turn is started, you kind of turn over your card and perform that movement. So you don't know what your opponent is going to do. You have kind of a pre-plan what your actions are going to be. In the top here we have this little plane logo, and that's where your stats for your plane go. Now I'll just describe some of the stats here. Now the H there means this is the movement depth that this particular plane follows. So there'll be certain maneuvers that this plane can do that other planes can't do, etc. The second is the damage. Now damage is used by cards in the game. So you have a deck of cards with A, B, C and I think D as well. Now these kind of represent the different the amounts of damage that you can do. So this plane has 2 guns. It has a forward-facing one and a rear-facing one as well, and both of those do A damage. So when you damage an enemy plane, you get your A damage card, and this on the back of here we have a number depending on how much damage is done. Now this is a 0 damage, so nothing is done. However, this little logo here means that the enemy firer jams their gun and they're kind of out of action for a few turns in terms of firing. There's different logos depending on different things. If you wound the pilot, if you cause the plane to smoke or cause a fire in the plane, and you can actually destroy the plane outright if this is kind of an explosion symbol. So the opponent doesn't actually know how much damage they've done to you. What you do is you place these in this section here, face down, and then if, however, the value of these cards adds up to the value there, the 15 there, that's how much damage this plane can take. And if it reaches that, then the plane explodes and is out of the game. Now, I don't want to spend too much time kind of covering the rules, as I would like to do more of a in-depth kind of rule overview when I do kind of a step-by-step playthrough of the game. I just want to kind of give you a rough guide as to how the game plays and kind of how simply it plays as well. The rulebook that I have here features kind of several sets of rules. It's got basic rules, which are kind of designed just to get you straight into the game, and kind of designed to kind of allow you to play the game without getting too bogged down with some of the more advanced things. As we have here, the advanced rules. So we can have altitude, as I mentioned before. You have the little kind of clear plastic studs, for want of a better word, and they kind of just add up, and you can kind of easily determine the altitude of the plane. As well, I should also mention that during World War I, there was of course the trenches, and the trenches actually play a part in this game. You can have AA guns and machine guns on the trenches, and these are represented by cards that you kind of place down on the table. And they act much in the same way as an aircraft does. It has a field of fire, and any planes that get near it can be damaged by these machine guns. So a very, very simple game to learn, especially if you just kind of start off following the rules through. You start with the basic rules, and you go to the standard rules, and finally you can have the advanced rules, and all the way through you also have these optional rules, and such as you can include ace pilots, and ace pilots have certain abilities and things like that. So it's kind of very customizable to how you want to play, how complex your game you want to engage in. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there is actually a Wings of Glory Kickstarter campaign that's currently running, and it's called Giant to the Sky. Now, if you think these planes are nice, there's actually some huge planes that are going to be involved in the Kickstarter. If you see comparison shots between these standard fighters and some of the new ones that will be coming out, they're absolutely huge. The Kickstarter ends on April the 3rd, so if you haven't actually checked it out, be sure to follow the link that I'll pop in the description, or an annotation link somewhere on screen. So while I didn't go into too much detail in terms of the rules in this video, I'm hoping to do something a little bit later on which kind of cover it more thoroughly. But from what I've played so far, it's a very quick game to pick up and learn, and you can get gaming straight away due to the way that the rules are actually tiered. You've got basic, standard, and the advanced as well, so you can kind of gauge it to fit whatever kind of time frame you've got, or however complex you want to play the game. It's very fun to play, and if you're kind of into X-Wing, things like that, then it's definitely along those similar lines, and you probably find this game to be enjoyable as well. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and also leave us some comments below as well. And as always, thanks for watching, and goodbye.